am joined by super legend Chris Amoo from The Real Thing. Now, he's celebrating over 45 incredible years in the music industry. He's got a new album out and the band are still going strong, pretty much booked up the whole year. Chris, it is brilliant to have you on the show. Thank you for coming on.
Well, with an intro like that, Claire, what can I say? End of it.
That's it. Bye. See you. Look, you have had this incredible career, and there's so many things that I want to talk to you about, actually. So, can we start off with your roots? So, you grew up in Toxteth in Liverpool.
Yeah, that's right.
What was that like?
Well, actually, it was fantastic. I actually feel that growing up in that kind of an environment gives you a sense of community. We didn't have to look outside of that community for anything, really, because we had our own clubs, youth clubs. We had our own restaurants. We had our own adult clubs, where sort of the older generations used to go. And there used to be the main place in Toxteth was a place called Stanley House. And Stanley House, at any one time, you could have 3 generations all in there at the same time. In the basement, it was a youth club. And basically, that's where all us used to go, and a generation up from us.
That sounds great fun. So it's all family together, all friends connecting.
All generations. Yeah, and basically on the middle floor was where my brother Eddie and his generation used to be, because that's where all the snooker was.
Oh, yeah.
And things. You could get a drink there.
Yeah.
And right on the top floor was where we used to practice. And there was a piano. And there was also on the middle floor a great big hall where they used to have these, shall we say, party-type dances every once a month or twice a month. And they used to come, all the sorts of black areas used to come from like Birmingham, London, on coachloads.
Oh, really? Yeah. Wow.
And, it really was a fantastic era to grow up in as far as the sense of community goes.
That sounds lovely. Yeah, so everyone knew each other, everyone was looking out for each other.
And like I say, we didn't have to go out into the city centre. Well, we couldn't really go out because we weren't really welcome outside of that environment.
Oh, really? Is that, you call it the ghetto?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Ghetto, Toxteth. And so you didn't feel safe venturing out of there.
I see.
I don't mean that you couldn't go into town and things like that. I'm not saying that. I'm talking about socially. When it come to like the nighttime life, the nightlife, you weren't really welcome in the sort of the clubs and things. Number one, because you didn't feel safe to go out on your own, so you went out with a few of you.
Yeah.
And if you go out with a few of you, it attracts attention when like sort of 5 or 6.
It could be negative.
So basically, the bouncers wouldn't let you in. Basically, they just wouldn't let you in, and so you form your own fun in the community in Toxteth because we had everything. We had everything we wanted.
So I guess you were really into music at the time.
All the Black Americans used to come in from the base with all the sort of the really heavy soul music that you didn't hear on mainstream radio. But we were getting to hear it because they used to come in from the base into Toxteth to mix with all the other black guys.
Yeah.
And women, in Toxteth and things. And quite a lot of people we know actually got married and went back to America with the GIs, a lot of the black girls that we knew. So we had everything there.
So music was a big part of that.
That's where our roots were. Our roots were not so much in England, musically. Our roots were the Black American.
And those Motown sounds.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's what we were listening to. That's what we were influenced by. All them type of things. Number one, because they look like us.
Oh, yeah.
So when you're young, like we are, 14,
and
you're looking. And number one, in them days, you didn't see many sort of black acts on television especially over here, because soul hadn't really, Motown had broken through, but it was you didn't see much.
It was more underground. And weren't you the first black act to go on to Opportunity Knocks?
I believe so.
And you won?
Yeah, and we won, yeah.
Yeah.
Opportunity Knocks was the birth of Real Thing.
Yes, but you weren't always called The Real Thing, were you?
No, that's what I'm saying, because that was where we first, just after Opportunity Knocks, is where we actually changed our name to Real Thing. It was actually during Opportunity Knocks that we changed our name to Real Thing. Up until that time, we were we were various names.
You were Sophisticated Soul Brothers. That was your idea, wasn't it?
I always loved that name.
I like that. Yeah, I like that. And then Vocal Perfection, and then, of course, the Coca-Cola slogan. And how can we forget that? What an awesome name. So that kind of took you through, didn't it, really?
Yeah, that was our manager, Tony Hall. And I must say, that is the best thing that's ever happened in my life anyway, meeting that guy. Because I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you now if it hadn't been for him. I mean, in any way, shape or form, I wouldn't have been sat here.
So you felt like he really gave you a chance to fulfill your dreams.
Exactly. If you listen to one of the tracks on our latest album, a track called God Help the Child, and that is basically about us when we met Tony Hall and he became our benefactor. And what the song says basically is young black guys growing up in the ghetto. There comes a time in life when you hit a crossroads, when your life can either go south or north, up or down, right?
Yeah.
And if you haven't got somebody to guide you, you can really go astray. And right at the right time, we met somebody who believed in us and put us on the right path. And that's what that song's all about. And basically, everything that I got in life is down to that one person.
That's lovely. And it's great that you recognise that and acknowledge that, and how brilliant that you've written a song to help other people as well. And it really is about following your dreams, and people need help, children need help to get them on the right path, particularly with, this day and age as well, more so than ever, and someone behind them who absolutely believes in them. And the album's brilliant. Congratulations on the album, A Brand New Day. It's very ballad heavy, actually, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very ballad. Well, I love ballads.
Yeah.
I didn't set out to just write ballads in any way, but I do love ballads because I think it shows our vocals more, and I always have felt that. One of my favourite artists was Luther Vandross, and I can honestly say to you that the up-tempo tracks he did just go beyond me, really. I like them, and they're fine, Yeah. But it's the ballads. It's when you
gets into you, doesn't it? Yeah. It's that emotion.
And they show his voice like the up-tempo songs can't do. I mean, you can tell he's great. Don't get me wrong, he's great. Anything. But I'm talking about magnificence now in his vocal. A House Is Not a Home is the best vocal that I've ever heard from any artist. And it's a ballad. And so I do like doing ballads because with The Real Thing, I think it best shows our capability and sound. Also, I like doing on the album, I like the more laid back type of funk or up tempo.
Yes.
Rather than the bam, 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 that type of thing. The real fast.
Yeah, so you can really listen to the lyrics and it takes you on an emotional journey. And there's some great ballads on there. Hang On, you reworked that one, didn't you?
Yeah, basically, Hang On, Eddie and I wrote a long time ago, and we recorded a version of it in America with two great producers called Mtume and Lucas, and they used to produce Roberta Flack and Donny Hathaway. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but
big names there.
Huge. I mean, they were like huge. But we never felt that they got it right. It just didn't work. It didn't work, and basically we shelved it. so we didn't do anything, you know. And Eddie and I always said we're going to revisit it because it's too good a song to just be sitting on the shelf. And so when we got together and we started deciding that we were going to do an album, automatically I went back to that as a tribute to Eddie, because I know that he always wanted to do it. Yeah. And we haven't changed really anything on it. We've just brought it up to date. And basically, because I'm doing a 2022 vocal, it's totally different to the vocal I was doing then. I see. The sort of the harmonies and things like that. So yeah, I love that though. I love that.
And my favourite track, A Brand New Day, or title track.
Yeah, right.
What a lovely, the lyrics are just amazing. What a lovely song. And I understand you wrote that during lockdown to give people some hope.
That was for lockdown. And that was the start of the album.
Right.
That was actually the start of the album, because when I wrote that, it was during lockdown, and we intended it to come out during lockdown. Right? But we didn't really have the platform. You see, a lot of this stuff is new to us. The real thing. A lot of the technical side of it, the technology side of it.
Yeah, I suppose it was much more old school, wasn't it? Sort of back in the day with all the performing.
Well, we used to record in... I mean, look, don't get me wrong. We've always had our own studio and things. But I'm talking about mastering something now good enough to be an album.
Yeah.
Sort of put out there.
Yeah.
Great for doing demos and for doing things for stage, but not, you know. And basically it was our band and our sound engineer who introduced us to being able to do it right from home, right from where I'm sitting now. And once I got my head around that, and I've written Brand New Day, and it was one of the first ones that I thought, okay, let's put this out during lockdown. And then I started to get excited then, because the ideas started coming.
Oh, you know. Yeah. A really creative time for you.
Yeah, yeah. And in the end, we thought, Dave and I thought, look, let's finish an album. We've got time. All the band are not off doing things. We're not gigging. So we're not too busy.
Yeah.
Let's, so I'd write a song and I'd say to the bass player, like, can you play this? And he'd send this part to the keyboard, put some keyboards on it, send me his part, put it all together. And that's how the album came about. With Brand New Day. I'm really delighted that you like that, because I do too.
Yay! It's brilliant.
Yeah, I do.
And we must also talk about this really, really special song, which is, it's got cult status now, really, hasn't it? The Children of the Ghetto. So that, I mean, it really captures the whole emotion of the song. Yeah. Wonderful track. So tell me about your ideas behind that.
Yeah, well, we wrote Children of the Ghetto basically round about just before the riots and everything in Toxteth. Well, quite a few years before, actually. And it was when Eddie and I got into we'd been listening to Marvin Gaye and Curtis Mayfield and all them. And all them artists had started singing about the ghetto where they grew up in America. And when we listened, we thought, well, we've got the same... We can write about our experience growing up in our ghetto. So that's when we come up with Children of the Ghetto, And what I love about Children of the Ghetto is it's about us, and it is us. The lyric is us. And nobody can sort of say, oh, yeah, but can't say that, because it is us.
Completely authentic to you. You wrote it, you share it. That's why it's so successful, isn't it, I think?
Yeah, it's our... But what I found is... See, I never used to sing Children of the Ghetto. Ray was the original on our 4 From 8 album, and he did a magnificent vocal on it. And then when Ray passed, Eddie took over. And they're both high singers, if you understand. They're both falsetto.
Yes,
like if you listen to Philip Bailey's version and things, it's all high.
Yeah.
And I found I wanted to sort of take it in a slightly different way, because I didn't feel I was getting it wasn't hitting me the way it should. Emotionally, it wasn't hitting me. And I realised the reason it wasn't hitting me personally was because I feel that I had to do it in front of an audience.
Yeah.
I had to look people in the eye.
You need to feel that vibe back, don't you? That energy for people to receive it and understand the emotion behind it.
Exactly. And I couldn't do that sat here.
No.
With this microphone. I couldn't. I could do it and it sounded all right, but it didn't hit me where I wanted it to hit me as the vocalist. So we decided to do a live version of it. And a lot of people were saying, yeah, but you're wasting your time doing a live version because it won't get played on radio. They don't like live versions. And so you're wasting your time with it. And I said, well, so what, basically? That's what we want to do. That's what we're doing, basically. And that's how Children of the Ghetto live came about. You know, the thing about Children of the Ghetto is what is so powerful about the song. It's relevant now as it was then.
Mm.
Yeah, because people who live in the inner cities, black and white, still feel an alienation and a bitterness towards the powers that be. In the fact that they feel that they are forgotten and nothing is really sort of done to really, really help people who are growing up in these places. And there's not much opportunity there. And what Children of the Ghetto are saying, well, keep your head up because you can do what you want to do if you really want to do it, because we've done it.
Yeah, what an inspiration. And it's giving people hope. They can listen to the lyrics, it takes you on that emotional journey. And perform live, it really captures that emotion as well. And you're still going...
Yeah, that was the intention, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're still out performing and gigging now. It's just over 4 years since your brother Eddie sadly passed away. And obviously you couldn't replace Eddie on stage or indeed Ray. So now it's just you and Dave. And you go out together as a pair and you keep the real thing alive. Do you feel that Eddie is with you? Do you feel his spirit is there with you when you're performing?
Absolutely. And basically, in order to keep... It's like you just said, you can't replace him or Ray. That's why we never ever replaced Ray when we went from 4 to 3.
Yeah.
And Dave and I, once again, because of technology is a lovely thing if it's used properly, you know, because basically it's enabled Dave and I to carry on without bringing somebody else in, which would change the dynamic of the band. Because, you know, me and Dave have been together since we were 14, 15 years old.
Yeah, you started off the band in school, didn't you? It's like, it's an amazing friendship.
Yeah, it would take away from the dynamic of the band. And also, it would change the sound of the band.
Oh, yeah, it would.
And we feel that the most important thing about the real thing is the sound and that dynamic that we've had with our audience. And we found that we didn't really need to bring somebody else in to keep that dynamic. And also, because of technology, I can sing Eddie's part. And while me and Dave are on stage singing, Eddie's part can be playing along with us.
That's amazing.
Parts.
Yeah.
So he's still there.
Isn't that lovely? He's still there ringing in your ears and everybody's,
Absolutely. So thank God for technology.
Indeed.
Because it's certainly... I just wish it had come up earlier because I feel that we've been missing for a long time as a recording act. And I just feel that there's so much we've had over the years, so much to offer that people never stood a chance of hearing. They just didn't stand a chance. Because record companies are interested. They're not even remotely interested in talent or how good you are. It's just what they can make now. And I understand that if they took on a group like us, they'd have to spend a bit more money. They'd have to spend more money to get us to the product away. And why should they do that when they don't have to, when they've got young hip-hop artists, rappers and things like. Look, I remember when I was 18, when we were young, and when the sort of older bands and that were around then were taking second fiddle to us because we were like exciting and raw. But the difference was, in the 70s, there wasn't this ageist thing going on. It wasn't, if you still had a really good amount of the older artists in the charts. Like, you could have Tony Christie in the charts at the same time as Real Thing.
Yeah.
You ain't getting that. There's no way you're getting that now. You're just not getting it.
No.
And that's what's changed. And that's down to record companies not being long-sighted enough. They're very short-sighted, which is cool, because now we don't need.
Well, you are still in enormous demand anyway, aren't you? I mean, you have a really loyal and a massive fan base who will continue to grow. You're out pretty much for the rest of the year. Let's look at some of your dates. Yep. You're in Bedford on Friday the 18th of March. Then you do Butlins. How cool is that? Yep. Minehead, Saturday the 19th. Yep. Is that one of those 80s retro-y kind of things?
Yes.
Yeah.
A lot of people... we started doing Butlins a long time ago. I mean, 30 odd years ago.
It's got to be a laugh.
And it was what it was. It was a holiday camp sort of thing. Yeah. But I can assure you, it's a very high level thing now.
Oh, yes. Yeah. It's all pro. It's brilliant. The acts. Yeah. Well, they've got the likes of you there. It's pro acts. Yeah.
It is fantastic.
It's absolutely brilliant. And then in April, you're in London, Plymouth, Wolverhampton, Bideford, Malvern, and the list just goes on and on. So people can find out where you're playing. They can go to your website, and there's a whole bunch of dates on there. So we must come and see you. Everyone must come and check you out and see you and support you. And the album, A Brand New Day, is out now too. And it's a lovely album, a tribute dedicated to Eddie and Ray. And it's really beautiful. So
thank you.
You know what? Thank you so much for coming on today, Chris. It's such a privilege to meet you. You are indeed a legend. Wonderful.
Well, thank you.
Thank you so much.